There is this mythical story. It's about a father who loved his daughter. His wife had passed and she was the only child. And she was 15 and someone knocks on the door and says to him, I love your daughter. I have like a castle and 5 horses and 2 dogs. I'm rich. Let me marry her. And the father says, no, she's too young. Then a few years later, another person knocks on the door and says, I have 5 castles and 50 dogs and cows, and let me marry her. No, she's still too young. And this goes on and on and on. He's like 90 and his daughter is now 70. And there's a knock on the door. This like limping 80-year-old says, I have like 25 castles. Can I marry her? He says, no, she's still too young. I think people can like me, and I think people can love me. But I also think people can love their own lives. They can love their own companions. They can love their own pursuits. Some people can love your body, and there is nothing wrong with that. And the moment you share that with another, they will probably be very upset. I think some people can kind of love a part of you that maybe is not as physical. And they also have the understanding that your physical body and your physical life demands attention from elsewhere, demands nourishment from elsewhere. But there's also this other part of you that this elsewhere can't answer and this elsewhere can't nourish. And so, I don't know if Hussein knew that we loved him or not. I'm sure he knew, he just didn't say anything. There was a point for all 3 of us where we just left him. Someone like me, I was young. I hadn't lived life and I wanted to go out there and just get a job. I want to have a girlfriend, go to places. And maybe, he felt betrayed. Maybe he felt sad. Maybe he felt abandoned, that after all his years of working with a couple of people, that they walk away, don't even call him, and even say thank you. And when we gather, we don't even listen to him, we walk away. I think if the element of love and respect and intimacy, if these particular components were not present, no one would have gone to school for humanities and philosophy, and no one would teach in the classroom, and no one at the same time would have their own unique physical life that is filled with stuff and it's rich. So, unlike the father who doesn't like to share his daughter because he loves her so much, or maybe she loves him too much, I think you need initially to possess this love. You need to protect it. You need to make sure it doesn't get distracted until it just like goes inside you and just stays inside you. And even though, despite all the pain and the chaos it creates, the many times you would want to run away, there is something about this particular emotion that forces you to go back to the place where this particular emotion was created. Once it has solidified inside you, the job is done. Hussein doesn't need to be alive. I take him to the classroom every single day, and he has been part of my life for the past 30, 40 years. And it's just not me. I was in Roseville yesterday fixing the car wash, and my mom fasts, so while we were breaking fast, 45 minutes of our conversation had to do with just the powerful presence of Hussein, and how much that everybody misses him now that he's gone, because of the sort of elements, the subtle things that he would bring to the table. I left the house yesterday at 3:30 in the morning, and I was at the car wash till about 4. And then I came back. By the time I got here, it was like 9:30, 10 o'clock. And Yusuf wanted me to see his gymnastics, how he runs and destroys the house. I don't know if you can call it love, but I couldn't reject him. I couldn't reject the innocence and the joy and the excitement that he had. Does he know that it's love? I don't know. It's something that you will encounter in Daughter of Fire. If there was no care or passion or love or intimacy, it wouldn't exist. There are these lines in Rumi where, I'm just going to put it in the context of like a romantic relationship where one person loves another, that this young man loves this young woman, and he keeps looking at her. And every time she looks at him, he kind of just goes like this. He doesn't want to be caught. And so, دل و جانم به تو مشغول و نظر در چپ و راست. That my heart and my soul are intoxicated by you and your presence, but my eyes are always going back and forth to all these other places, so that when others look at me, they will continue to assume that I love the doors and the windows and the books and not the woman. I can't tell you the number of times at gatherings my father would catch me looking at Hussein. Your eyes would become glossy and you just look at him, and then you realize your father is looking at you and the way you're looking at Hussein. And you catch yourself as a son, you catch yourself all of a sudden and you say, I hope my father didn't see that. And so just to make sure that, your father is not hurt, you kind of just get up and you say, Dad, can I get you some tea? Create this illusion that you were just, staring into the space, not really so much Hussein.